A lot of things in cooking are open for interpretation. Mushroom risotto is not one of those things. I see it all the time. You guys pile risotto, not just mushroom risotto, any risotto. You pile risotto into this little ring mold and it stands up on itself and you stack a bunch of shit on top of it. That is not risotto. A good risotto should dance in the pan. It should kind of move around the plate a little bit. It shouldn't be stacked inside of one of these and then flipped upside down. Then you take the top out of it and it looks the same. That is shit. Do not pay for that risotto if you go to a restaurant and they give you that. I've got some arborio rice, I've got some oyster mushrooms, I've got shiitake mushrooms, I've got about a half an onion that I've diced, I've got some mascarpone cheese, some Parmesan cheese, a little bit of butter to saute the mushrooms in, and that's about it. There's gonna be some white wine and some mushroom stock, but it's really easy. Just a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, and a little bit of preparedness. Ideally, I wanna be able to cook my risotto, saute my mushrooms all at the same time so they can come together in the pan at the same time. So I want to get started with my onions. I'm gonna take half an onion, get that sauteing over a low flame. I want no color at all on these onions, so I'm gonna turn the heat right down, and I want these to turn translucent. I just want them to soften up. So when people say soften up, all they're talking about is you wanna be able to pick it up and kind of mush it between your fingers without getting any color on it. If I get these brown, my risotto is gonna kind of have a burnt taste going through it, and it's important that these look pretty because they're gonna show in my finished product. In the back here, I have a little bit of mushroom stock that I'm gonna use for my risotto. I've got a separate pan here that I'm gonna have going for my sauteed mushrooms. Here I've got some oyster mushrooms, super simple, just with a knife. Once you get down to the stem, leave it alone. I've got here shiitake mushrooms. I could cut them one at a time, or I could stack them up and cut 3 at a time. There's really no wrong kind of mushroom. I mean, they're all basically pretty much water. It's just how long they take to cook. Mushrooms are gonna go into my pan, nice and hot. I'm gonna hit my mushrooms with a pinch of salt. I do want color on my mushrooms. Yeah, that's what makes them taste like mushrooms. If there's no color on the mushrooms, they just fucking taste like sponges. So my onions are on their way to where they need to be. Now it's time for me to add my rice. This is about a half a cup of arborio rice. Yes, it is important to use arborio rice. If you use basmati or some other shit, you're not gonna have risotto. Rice goes in. We're gonna add just a touch more oil so it doesn't stick. So I want this risotto to start to sound like popcorn. It's called blasting the rice. I want this rice to start to toast a little bit and open it up so it's ready to release all of its starches. To my mushrooms, to really, really make them super special, all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add a small sprig of thyme, I'm gonna add a little bit of lemon juice and a little bit of crushed garlic. So for the garlic's got a big job to do and it's gonna be in there for a long time. Just gonna crack it a little bit so it releases all of its garlicky garlicness. We're gonna add 1 sprig of thyme. I'm gonna wait till the very end to add this little bit of lemon juice to it. My risotto is toasting nicely. You see, I still have no color at all on my onions. That is exactly what I want. So now I feel comfortable. I'm gonna turn the heat up just a little bit more. So now the work starts. Now I'm never gonna take my eyes off this risotto now until it's done. So I'm gonna hit this with about a 1/4 cup of white wine, and I'm gonna cook this until there's no wine left in that pan. Now it's time for me to hit the mushrooms with 1 little knob of butter, a little bit of lemon juice, make sure to catch the pits. Now, a lot of people would tell you to add the mushrooms right now. That's fucking stupid. Because if I add the mushrooms right now, they're gonna overcook. They're gonna be like mush at the end of it. Right now, these mushrooms are great. They've got some color, they've got some texture, and I wanna keep them that way. So I'm gonna take them, and I'm just gonna reserve them off to the side here until I am ready for them. See how we started with all that wine and it looked like the risotto was swimming? Where's all that wine now? It's gone. So now I'm gonna hit this with some mushroom stock. You wanna add about a cup at a time. And it's really, really important to kind of taste as you go and season as you go. Right now, I've done this a couple times, so I know that I don't really need to mess with this too much. But as this reduces, you can see how it's starting to thicken. The bubbles are getting tighter and tighter around the corner. You're gonna watch this get thicker right in front of you. And this is where a lot of people screw it up. You know, there's schools of thought that'll tell you, oh, you have to stir it clockwise, you have to stir it counterclockwise. It doesn't fucking matter. I'm here to tell you it doesn't matter. Just keep moving it, don't let it stick. So now it's getting nice and thick. When I pull it, it leaves a line. So now it's time for me to add some more stock to this. So for me, I like to add a little bit of texture because risotto can be kind of just like soft, soft, soft. So I've just got a little bit of panko, I've got some butter and a little bit of canola oil, and we're just gonna give this a quick toast. I think the crunchy with the soft, with the mushroominess, I think it's really, really special. Breadcrumbs are done. Those are nice and golden brown. I'm gonna dump them out onto a paper towel to drain all that excess fat. Beautiful. Now's a good time for me to check for seasoning. I've salted this once or twice. There's stock in here. So it's pretty good. I think it needs a pinch more salt. Now it's about time to finish. Some chefs even would tell you that you can finish this with butter. I would not finish it with butter. I would turn the heat right on down to nothing. And this is how I finish my risottos in the restaurant. About a tablespoon of mascarpone cheese. And it really like takes your risotto to like another level of nice. It gives it that nice, like unctuous, kind of decadent sort of flavor to it. And now you're gonna say, Chef, that's so wet, it's gonna run all over my plate. But wait, we're gonna dry it right up. I've got Parmesan here. And what the Parmesan does is it seasons the risotto and it also acts as a binding agent. I'm also gonna add those mushrooms that we sauteed so nicely. Those go back into the pan. And guys, the heat is off right now. There's enough heat in this pan to finish off this risotto. That is good to go. Down into the plate. This risotto dances. It's not piled high in a little ring mold. It's fun to eat. It's alive. Got some breadcrumbs over the top. There you have mushroom risotto. Enjoy.